Good evening, dear viewers. On this September 15th, 1938, we find ourselves reflecting on last week's curious events. Clem and Clive, our dynamic duo, stumbled upon a teleprinter unlike any other. Instead of just printing the current news, it also spat out headlines from the week before. Such a mix-up. Clem, ever the jester, dubbed it the temporal teleprinter. One can't help but chuckle at the irony. As your devoted narrator, these tales of time pull me into a whirlwind of fascination, dancing between the realms of what is and what once was, if only time were as pliable as the pages of a book. But let us not dally. Let's see what Clem and Clive have planned for us tonight.
Clive, you wouldn't believe how busy this teleprinter's been since our last episode. It's been humming away, spewing out story after story.
I noticed. It seems while we were away, the world certainly didn't stop turning. This machine hasn't rested, has it?
It's almost as if every corner of the globe has a story to tell, and this teleprinter is eager to share them all with us. We got a pile of news to sift through.
Well, we did ask for a source of consistent and current information, and it seems the universe delivered in spades. We'll have our hands full during this episode.
Our viewers are in for quite the informative ride today. They won't be left wanting for news, that's for sure.
Indeed, it's amazing how a single machine can keep us so connected to the pulse of the world. Before we dive in, let's set the mood with a tune. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy Frank Raymond's orchestra performing "'Cause I Feel Low Down," featuring the vocals of Harry Sommers from 1928.
With my condition, had an easy disposition, overcome with wild suspicion, 'cause I feel low down. Fool with love and I got cheated, every day I get mistreated, now my temper's overheated, 'cause I feel low down. Take my girl, you're taking stolen fruit, won't do you no good. If she thinks I need a substitute, I've been misunderstood. Yeah, my love and my devotion, deeper than the Pacific Ocean. Got a mean and don't care notion, 'cause I feel low down.
Here we are, Clive. The first one is from September 9th, 1938. It mentions U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt giving a press conference. Apparently, there's a quote attributed to the ambassador to France, William Christian Bullitt, Jr. That's causing quite a stir.
Yes. He allegedly said that France and the United States were united in war as in peace. That's a loaded statement, especially in these tense times.
It certainly is. Such remarks could be construed as an alliance or commitment, potentially drawing the U.S. into European conflicts.
Precisely, Clem. It's no wonder President Roosevelt felt the need to address it. The dynamics of international diplomacy are delicate, and words carry significant weight. With Europe being a powder keg right now, it's essential for nations to be clear about their intentions.
Indeed, it's fascinating how one statement can ripple through the world stage.
Absolutely, Clem. We can't rush through these stories, especially when their implications are vast. It's a bit like savoring a good song, taking it one note at a time.
Do you know, Clive, with all the headlines we have today, it's essential to digest them one at a time. Overwhelming oneself doesn't do any good. Speaking of songs, here is a tune from 1934, Live and Love Tonight by Dave Harman and his orchestra, featuring the smooth vocals of George Marks.
There's music in the sea. The whole world has joined in a lover's rhapsody. What are the wild waves saying to me? Live and love tonight. Ripples of moonlight illuminate the shore like beacons of romance I never saw before. What are they all conveying to me? Live and love tonight. Sweetheart, I've lived this moment in all my dreams, all my life. I've waited for this moment, and now if we delay, our moment may slip away. In my embraces, you haven't said a word, but I listened closely, and this is what I heard. Your heartbeats cry in rhythm with mine. Live and love tonight.
All right, moving on to our next piece of news, dated September 10th, 1938. And this one's a bit intense, Clem.
Do share, Clive. What's it about?
It appears Hermann Goering made quite an inflammatory speech at the Nuremberg rally. He made accusations against the Czechoslovak government, claiming they were oppressing a cultured people. On the other hand, Czechoslovakian President Edvard Beneš chose to take the higher ground, not responding directly to the diatribe in his radio address, but appealing for peace.
That's heavy. The geopolitical tension is almost palpable. It's interesting to see how leaders choose to react in such situations. Bennett's call for peace, in contrast to Goring's fiery rhetoric, really highlights the complexities of international politics.
It's a delicate dance. While some leaders opt for aggressive posturing, others look for diplomatic solutions. The balance of power, diplomacy, and communication is pivotal.
Certainly makes you think, doesn't it? The nuances of leadership and the weight of every word spoken on such platforms.
Amidst these heavy headlines, let's pause and reminisce with a 1927 classic. Here's Among My Souvenirs by the Caroliners.
Me of days that used to be, I live in memory among my souvenirs. From letters tied with blue, a photograph or two, I see a rose from you among my souvenirs. A few more tokens rest within my treasure chest, and though they do their best to give me consolation, I count them all apart, and as the teardrops start, I find a broken heart among my souvenirs.
September 11th, 1938, the Italian Grand Prix was won by Tazio Nuvolari of Italy. What a race it must have been.
Indeed, Nuvolari has always been a force on the tracks. But, you know, with the growing tensions in Europe, I'm starting to wonder about the future of these events.
You've touched on something there, Clive. Given the political atmosphere, it wouldn't be surprising if many of our beloved sporting events faced postponements or even cancellations.
Yes, the shadows of conflict have a way of reaching even the most unexpected corners of our daily lives. History has shown us that during times of war or political unrest, even the world of sports isn't immune.
It's a sobering thought that this might be the last Grand Prix we see, for a while. Here's hoping for better times and the swift return of such iconic races.
After that piece of news, let's take a momentary pause. Here's the Durium Dance Band from 1932 with Sam Browne's vocals, bringing us Foolish Over You.
for me to handle foolish over you. I'm the moth and you're the candle, no use wriggling, I'm on the hook. One little look, and my goose was cooking. What am I to do when you twist me round your finger? If I say I'm through, then you smile and still I linger. I'm so helpless, happy yet blue. You've got me foolish over you.
All right, Clive, we need to get through more of these headlines. We left off on September 12th.
Yes. Hitler delivered a significant speech in Nuremberg, stressing the importance of addressing the oppression of Sudeten Germans. Interestingly, this speech was broadcast live to the United States, marking the first time many Americans had the chance to hear him speak.
And immediately following that speech, the British cabinet convened. Word is they seemed relieved that Hitler was focusing on justice for the Sudeten Germans and hadn't made any overt war declarations.
A tense time for diplomacy, Clem. Oh, speaking of broadcasts, on that same day, BBC television aired a film for the very first time.
Ah, man of the moment. I caught a snippet about its plot. A charming comedy where a humble clerk, played by Douglas Fairbanks Jr., comes to the rescue of a lady during a robbery. Little did he expect the hero's welcome and the fame that followed. A delightful take on how a single act can change a person's entire life.
Precisely, Clem. It's always fascinating to see how films provide a little escapism from the tensions of the real world. An ordinary man thrust into extraordinary circumstances. It's a tale as old as time.
It sure is, Clive. Moving on to September 13th, it seems there was a surge in unrest among the Sudeten Germans, with attacks on police stations and other symbols of Czechoslovak authority.
The aftermath was immediate. The Czechoslovak government had to declare martial law. It appears the situation was escalating quickly. On the same day, French Prime Minister Edouard Daladier turned to Neville Chamberlain, hoping he could strike a deal with Hitler.
Tensions were high everywhere. Fast forwarding to September 14th, the Czechoslovakian government announced they'd managed to suppress the Sudeten revolt. A small reprieve in a stormy week.
And in aviation news, the Graf Zeppelin II made its maiden flight on that same day. Aviation enthusiasts had their eyes to the sky.
Finally, bringing us to today, September 15th, British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain took to the skies, boarding a plane for the very first time in his life. His destination? Berchtesgaden, to meet with Adolf Hitler. Word is Chamberlain had already resigned to not go to war over Czechoslovakia and was focused on meeting Hitler's demands.
A week full of pivotal moments, Clem. One can only wonder where all these developments will lead.
Indeed, Clive. It's times like these where one needs a moment to sit back, reflect, and perhaps enjoy a bit of music.
Speaking of which, here's a tune that might resonate with our recent journey through the headlines. From 1933, Richard Himber and his Essex House Orchestra bring us It Might Have Been a Different Story, with vocals by the talented Joey Nash. Let's listen.
Every day's a lonely day, and our sweet romance is just a memory. But it might have been a different story if you really cared for me. Every kiss was so divine, and I thought that you were mine, till I realized your heart was fancy-free. But it might have been a different story if you really cared for me. I look to you, love, for a happy ending like the true love that I was intending, but a new love came along and interrupted all that was to be. Oh, I guess our love is through. I can never dream of you, or a cottage meant for two or maybe three. But it might have been a different story if you really cared for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we take a brief respite from the delightful tunes and exciting news to bring you a word from our esteemed sponsor, Lux Soap. In these modern times of 1938, we understand you need a soap that does more than just clean. You need a soap that cares for your skin, and Lux Soap does exactly that. Imbued with the finest natural ingredients, Lux Soap offers more than cleanliness. It is the promise of gentle, radiant, and youthful skin. Its rich, creamy lather removes not just dirt and grime, but also cares for your skin, leaving it soft and supple. But the magic of Lux doesn't stop there. The mild, enchanting fragrance leaves you feeling fresh and rejuvenated. Every bath becomes a luxurious experience, a moment of calm in the hustle and bustle of life. Isn't it time you treated yourself to the indulgence you deserve? Embrace the elegance, charm, and comfort of Lux Soap. Remember, with Lux, you're not just washing, you're caring for your skin. And now back to Clem and Clive with more captivating music and engaging chatter. As that teleprinter goes about its intriguing business, let's not leave the airwaves silent. Onto the music we go.
Indeed, Mr. Harrington. While the temporal teleprinter continues its diligent work, we've got melodies from yesteryears to set the mood. So, first up, from 1936, here's The Touch of Your Lips by Jan Garber and his orchestra, serenaded beautifully by Lee Bennett.
upon my brow, your lips that are cool and sweet, such tenderness lies in their soft caress. My heart forgets to beat. The touch of your hands upon my head, the love in your eyes are shine. And now at last the moment divine, the touch of your lips on mine.
It seems the teleprinter had something urgent to share while that tune played.
Now, this is curious. This doesn't look like any news headline.
You're right. Teleprinters are typically reserved for news transmissions. Could it be...
An interaction
news?
from one of our listeners? That's a first. We might be breaking new ground here, Clem.
Incredible. Our very own direct line to the audience. Let's see here. Ahikatsu 4374. That's a curious name. Anyhow, Ahikatsu says, wow, how do you manage to get radio voices? It's always fascinating what the audience picks up on. To answer your question, dear listener, our voices are the product of years in the industry, seasoned with a touch of charisma and a dash of practice.
And let's not forget those countless hours spent doing vocal exercises and sipping warm tea before every show. Another message, Clem. This one's from Ukraine supporter 777.
The message reads, is this some kind of ARG? What do you reckon that stands for?
Perhaps it's American Radio Guild. Although, why would they be inquiring about that?
Or maybe it's audience-requested groove.
Could be. Well, dear Ukraine supporter, we're not entirely certain what ARG means in your context, but we've given it our best guess. Thanks for tuning in and connecting with us.
Oh my, another message from the teleprinter. This one's from Blue Aerospace 9619. He says, the coal industry seems like a good idea.
That sounds like a nod to our sponsor, Blue Coal, from last week. Indeed, they've been vital in warming many a home. Yet it's essential to remember the brave souls working in the coal mines, facing conditions not all of us might be aware of.
That's true, Clive. Every piece of coal has a story, much of it rooted in hard work and sacrifice.
Well, let's not forget that Blue Coal is a fine company, ensuring quality and efficiency for its customers. They've been generous sponsors and stand by their product.
Of course, Mr. Harrington. Our intention was only to shed light on all aspects.
That said, it's about time we wrap up for the evening.
Well, Clive, between the tumultuous headlines and the surprises from our listeners, we've truly journeyed through the golden age of radio today.
It's been an enlightening ride, Clem, and as always, a pleasure sharing it with our dedicated audience.
Here's to more adventures in sound and story. Signing off for now.
Good night, dear listeners. Until our next broadcast, stay safe.
Dear listeners, the past few episodes have been nothing short of a roller coaster. We embarked on this journey with a mysterious box, ventured into the realms of modern communication with our intriguing teleprinter, and intertwined it all with timeless tunes. From pondering the mysteries of the universe to reflecting on the world's shifting landscape, Clem and Clive have entertained and enlightened. As we bring this episode to a close, remember that the magic of radio ties us together, uniting the past, present, and the boundless horizons of tomorrow. Stay curious, and good night.